What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. My name is Cory and welcome to your daily stock market technical analysis update. We saw some selling across the board today and some stocks are getting slammed way harder than others. What is going on and what should you expect going into next week? First up, let's take a look at the S&P500 Spy Etf. So let's crack open this chart and see what's going on in the stock market today. Alright, so on the Spy Etf, we saw the price action going down negative 0.73% and we closed very close to that 13 EMA. You can see intraday we did find support over the 20 simple moving average and we still have the benefit of a bullish trend. So selling is completely normal and there's nothing to panic about as long as the price action is holding over the 20 simple moving average and we still have a bull trend. So as long as the 5 EMA is trading over the 13 EMA, we still have the benefit of that bullish trend, which means the market is likely to continue to head higher. So right now I'm not sounding the panic bell that we are going through a stock market correction or anything like that. This is still completely normal selling and we still don't see a huge volume of selling just yet. If you're looking at the volume down here, you can see the volume is not that abnormal from the volume that we've typically been seeing even on green days. So there's no sign that there's some huge big money dumping their positions onto the stock market, and there's no sign that a correction is coming just yet. Now there is one thing to note above is there is a very strong resistance level somewhere around SPY levels of 381. We already did reach that level and I do think we will retest that level. Whether or not we can break and close over that level is to be determined, but I still do have an outstanding price target that we have not hit up here at $393. Remember, we did break and close over my first price target at $377 and we did close over that price target for multiple days in a row, which means that level is confirmed and it could be a support level. Now we did see that level acting as support, but today we did close below $377. However, as long as we're holding up over the 20 simple moving average, the price action is still bullish and the trend is still very strong because the 20 simple moving average and the 50 EMA are still positive sloping. So cooling off like this actually brings the price action closer to the 20 simple moving average and closer to the 50 EMA, which is healthy for a bull market. You don't ever want to see the price action getting too far extended away from its 20 simple moving average or its 50 EMA. That is usually the signs of a parabolic market and that's just not sustainable. So this really opens up more upside movement for the market because we're now cooling off and allowing these moving averages to catch up to the price. And now that trend could continue to push the price to the next leg higher. So hopefully that makes sense and hopefully that helps you relieve your nerves that this isn't some big correction coming and there's really no reason to believe that this selling is going to continue going into next week until we see the price action confirm that the trend is going negative. But right now the trend is still positive, it's still bullish, and the price action is still holding up over critical support levels. So as far as support goes, keep watching this 20 simple moving average at $373 because that is definitely the strongest support level and definitely the most critical to sustain this bullish rally. If we do start closing below that, that will be signs of bearish momentum picking up, but we could still find support down here at the 50 EMA. So we'll go over that scenario if it happens, but right now it's still looking bullish. Next up is the Nasdaq 100 QQQ ETF, and we saw the Nasdaq going down negative 0.79%, and we did close slightly below the 20 simple moving average. Now that's also completely normal, and there's really no big deal as long as we don't continue to close below this 20 simple moving average. You can go back to January 6th where we did close below the 20 simple moving average, and you could see the next 2 days we had very bullish price action momentum. So this could still be a market that is a buy the dip market, and we still have the benefit of a bull trend. As you can tell in the Nasdaq 100, as long as this 5 EMA stays over the 13 EMA, you maintain that bullish trend and you find support over this 20 simple moving average. We've seen it many times before and I have no reason to believe that it's not going to continue that trend until we see the price action tell us otherwise. So right now, this 5 EMA is still over the 13 EMA, and until we see that cross to the negative side, I'm not going to become bearish on this market. So we still have bullish trending and we still have outstanding price targets up here at $321. There should be a pretty strong resistance level at 319, which is the previous all-time high for the triple Qs. So as far as support level goes, we close right on top of support, which is right around that 20 simple moving average, which is in between the $311 and $312 range. There was support at 313 that we did close below, so that is starting to look concerning that we're starting to close below support levels. However, let's see some follow through and let's get another day of price action to see if we're going to continue to close below these levels. There is another strong support level down here at $308, which you'll really want to pay close attention to because if we do start closing below support at 308, that will be very bearish price action that we need to acknowledge. So watch for upside resistance at 319, and my price target is still at 321 for the time being because we still have bullish trending and we are still trending upward in this market. Next up is the Dow Jones Dia Etf, and we saw the Dow Jones going down negative 0.62% today and closing right over top of that 13 EMA. You can see intraday we did get close to the 20 simple moving average and did bounce and close higher for the day. So we still have bullish trending, and my price target on the DIA ETF is still up here at $312. So I still have upside price targets that I do expect to get hit. So next week I am expecting to see a continuation of this bullish trend. Next up is the ARK ETF, and we did break and close over my price target yesterday of $144, and it looks like we were on our way to the next price target today at $149. But we did find resistance and close lower for the day, going down negative 2.32%. You can see this chart is still bullish because the price action is still over the 5 EMA, and we still have a very strong bull trend. So on the ARK ETF, the strong support is going to be the 20 simple moving average, which is still way down here at $133. We have upside price targets of 144 in the short term and 149 in the medium term. Next up is the VIX, which is the fear indicator, and we see the VIX going up 4.69% today. But that's completely normal considering the S&P 500 sold off a little bit. So the VIX is still trading below resistance at 24.8, and it still can't close back over that level. So as long as the VIX stays below 24.8, we'll likely see the selling come to an end as we continue to trend back higher. If we start heading higher, the VIX should head lower, which means fear is leaving this market as the market trends higher. If the VIX closes over 24.8, that could mean we're going to see a lot more selling and a lot more volatility. So we're only a couple days away from knowing if this market wants to sell off or if it's just a temporary cool down before we start heading higher. Next up is the US dollar, and this is definitely the real culprit for today's sell-off. We saw the dollar going up big today and going up 0.6%. The biggest concern about the US dollar is it did form a daily higher high on this chart. A weak dollar is typically strong for the bull market, but we are starting to see some strength return to the dollar. The real question is this just a dead cat bounce? Because we did have this very strong downward bear trend for so long, this could just be a cool off in the opposite direction, and it could be a corrective move to the bear market. If the dollar does find resistance soon at the 50 EMA or this resistance level at $91 and fails to break and close above those levels, this long-term bear trend could resume and we could see the dollar start heading back to $89. So this could very much just be short-term pain before we get a longer-term gain in the stock market. But right now it's too soon to say, but we definitely have to realize that the dollar is forming a daily higher high, and that is something that we need to be concerned about in the short term, and we need to watch it very closely. With everything going on around us, it's very likely the dollar should continue to weaken, so I'm going to give favor to the long-term bear trend because the price action is still below the 50 EMA and it's still negative sloping. So that's a very strong bear trend that's not going to reverse overnight. So the dollar has a lot of work to do if it wants to reverse this bearish trend and go into a bull trend. Next up is gold, and because the dollar is so strong, we are seeing some very weak gold. Gold went down over negative 1% today, but it did close right on top of support at 1826. So like I always say, don't panic sell and definitely don't sell on support. So if you're getting a little scared right here, it's too soon to say if gold's going to break down below support or if it's going to bounce off of this level and start heading higher. So gold is sitting right on support, and we need to see more price action before we see where gold's going to head. There is a support level way down here at 1760. So if gold does break and close below support, that will be a bearish sign and a good time to start cutting your positions and getting out of gold. However, if gold does bounce off support, there's still price targets higher at 1860 and 1930 that gold could still go to. We do see in the short term we have some bearish trending, but in the medium term, the 20 simple moving average is still over the 50 EMA. So if gold bounces from here, it could start to look bullish, but if it does close below support, that will be a bearish sign. Next up is silver, and it's pretty much the same exact story as gold. It's sitting right down here on support, and it's at a crossroads of whether or not it's going to bounce and start heading higher to look bullish, or if it's going to break and close below support and start heading lower to look bearish. So just watch these very important support levels, and for silver that's somewhere around $24.55, and the resistance level above is now going to be at $25.10. So watch those levels very closely because it's going to decide if gold and silver are going to become bullish or bearish from these support levels. Next up is Bitcoin, and we do see Bitcoin selling off today, going down negative 7.2%. But in the grand scheme of this, it's really not that bad because we still have a bullish trend. We can see the volume is dying down a little bit down here, and there's really not a lot of people buying into Bitcoin at this point in time. However, it does look like it's just consolidating and getting ready for another move higher. However, with consolidation, it could also break out to the downside, so watch that 20 simple moving average right around $34,000. If Bitcoin does get a close below the 20 simple moving average, it could start heading down in a very big way. So that's going to be a very strong support level that you want to pay attention to. My upside price target on Bitcoin was never actually hit, and it is at $42,700. Next up is Amazon stock, and we still see Amazon looking bearish, and we see the price action continuing to close below all of the moving averages. We can see the bear trend is picking up momentum, but Amazon is also still holding up above support at $3,090. So Amazon is really going nowhere, and I can't suggest buying the stock. And if it does close below $3,090, that will be a bear sign, and it means Amazon is likely heading much lower. If Amazon could bounce off support, it could come up to the price target up here at $3,200. Next up is Apple stock, and we saw Apple going down negative 1.37% today, but still holding up above support at $126. With Apple, we're starting to develop some bearish trending, and the 5 EMA is creating bearish separation from the 13 EMA. The price action's still over the 50 EMA though, so we still have somewhat of a good sign if Apple can start bouncing off of these levels. If Apple does break below 126, the next support is going to be around the 50 EMA and the previous support level, which is between $124 and $125. The upside price target on Apple is still up here at $136. On the financial sector, we did close below the 5 EMA, but we still have a very strong bull trend which can continue to push the price higher. On the industrial sector, we closed below the 5 and the 13 EMA, but the price action is still over the 20 simple moving average, and we still have a bull trend. On the healthcare sector, we're still closing over the 5 EMA, so we have bullish price action, and we also have a very strong bull trend on the healthcare sector. So to summarize, going back to the S&P 500, we do see a little bit of cracks in the armor in this bull market, but there's really no big concerns right now. We saw a bounce in the dollar, which is definitely a bearish sign for the market, and we did see some selling as a result of that. However, the VIX is still below resistance, and we still see some bullish trending across the board, even though the price action is starting to look a little more bearish day by day. So the price action can change at the drop of a hat, and we could continue higher as early as next week, or the price action can start closing below these 20 simple moving averages, and we'll have to start looking at bear scenarios for this market. But right now, I'm still bullish on this market, and I still do think my upside price targets will be met as early as next week. There's only a few percent higher until those targets are hit, and we are likely to continue to trend higher in the short term. Also, if you're looking for a disciplined and profitable trading community, consider joining the Stocks Channel Discord. You can find out how to join by clicking on the link in the description of this video. So next up, let's take a look at the Stocks Channel Hot Stocks. Alright, so our first hot stock of the night will be Tesla stock, and we did see Tesla going down negative 2.23%, and we finally got a price action close below the 5 EMA. You can see the trend on Tesla is still very strongly trending to the bullish upside, and it could still get up to my price target at $903. Now, one day of selling does not set a trend, so it's really nothing to panic about just because Tesla closed below the 5 EMA, because you can see how long it's been over that 5 EMA. It looks like it's really just cooling off and consolidating. So with this strong bullish trend, I still favor Tesla to come up to $900, but it could still come down to other support levels at the 13 EMA or the 20 simple moving average. So Tesla could go as low as $740 and still form higher lows, but it still would take a lot longer to get back to $900 from those levels. So Tesla is still looking bullish, and I would consider buying the dip if it did get down to the 20 simple moving average at $740. Next up is Neostock, and like I said with Neostock the other night, there is a lot of risk in Neo with these open gaps below, and we did see Neo closing that gap at $59 and closing much lower, going all the way down to $56. There is still a gap open down here all the way down to $54, so there's still more risk in Neostock. Now, because the trend is still bullish, it means Neostock could continue to head higher, but it's really going to be a much healthier stock once it closes this gap at $54. So I really don't suggest buying Neostock until these gaps close. So after Neo closes the gap at $54, it could be a good buy and ride back up to the resistance level up here at $65. Remember, my price target was 61, and we did exceed that level, and we are finishing a fifth wave in Neo very soon. So there is definitely a lot of risk in this stock, and you're really trying to catch it at the absolute top if you're buying the stock at these levels. So understand the risk in this stock, and if you're still bullish on this stock, I completely understand, but why don't you just wait for the gap to close and buy it much lower? That way you're not going to get trapped buying it in at the top if it does go into a larger correction. So a lot of these high flying stocks have a lot of risk in them, and they will get hit the hardest in the event that we do have a stock market correction. Next up is Palantir Stock, and we did see Palantir Stock going up 2.89% today, and it did close below that 20 simple moving average yet again. So let's jump over to the 1 hour chart, and we can see that we did get that false breakout. Then we did come back into consolidation, and then we got another breakout, and now it looks like Palantir is trying to come all the way back down to test that breakout as support yet again. So it does look like Palantir is on its way back to $25 support level, and if it does bounce off that level, it could be a confirmation that it's time to buy this stock and go long. However, I still don't see any confirmation that this stock is ready to go higher until I see something more bullish on this chart. So if I go back to the daily chart, we will want to watch support at 25 to see how the price action behaves at that support level. But if we close below 25, it means we're likely heading all the way back to $23. A close below 23 means we could test the 50 EMA or the previous support at $21. So there's still a lot of support levels below Palantir that could drop much lower if we do close below 25. There's a strong resistance level at 26.75, which Palantir is really struggling to close above. A close above that resistance level would also be another bullish sign to go long on Palantir. So I still can't say it's time to buy this stock just yet. Even though we are getting a little bit of volatility, it still looks like a somewhat bearish chart, and it's really not time to be buying into this stock when it has a lot more potential downside. Next up is Alibaba Stock, and we saw Alibaba going up only 0.2% today, but it's still looking very bullish. If I switch Alibaba over to a 1 hour chart, you can see it did the opposite of Palantir, where it broke out, tested the breakout as support, and it did get a confirmation bounce. And now it's holding up over bullish price action, and you can see the trend is starting to catch up, and it's going to start pushing the price higher very soon. So I think Alibaba is going to have no trouble getting to my price target up here at $255 in the very near future. There could be another somewhat strong resistance level on Alibaba around $252. And I would watch the levels between 252 and 255 as possible profit taking. This is still a hot stock, and it still could go much higher than my price targets, but right now we're playing it day by day, and we were buying this stock as low as $216, so we don't want to get greedy and we want to lock some of those profits in. Next up is my favorite hot stock, which is Zoom stock, and we did see Zoom bouncing higher today and going all the way up to $404 before closing lower for the day right above support at $384. So remember on Zoom, I gave you this stock on Monday night and I said buy this stock at $337. Only a few days later, we're sitting all the way up here in the 380s, and we did test the highs of $400. So the stock is extremely hot, and I'm very bullish on this stock, and I think you want to buy the dip on this stock every opportunity you get to. We're trading this stock a lot in the Stocks Channel Discord, and if you want my buy and sell levels, you need to join the Discord server to get what they are. But we are holding up above support right now, and I do expect to see Zoom getting up to my price target at $418 very soon. It could happen as early as next week, and this stock has a lot of bullish momentum. You can see there's a lot of buyers coming in, and the volume is starting to pick up. And I still think we're getting in this stock at a very early time because this stock could go all the way back up to $500 in a hurry. So this stock is still very bullish, and it's going to remain a hot stock for some time to come because I think it has a lot more room to run. So if you want more hot stocks, consider checking us out at the Stocks Channel Discord, and you can find out how to join by clicking on the link in the description of this video. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope you're crushing this market and making a ton of money. So thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next episode.